Hi, everyone. Hi, Brother Fire Cliffs is Healing. How are you? We'll give everybody a few minutes to roam in. Hopefully, some people are going to join us today. I want to talk today about something that's very important. I want to talk about letting go. So, get yourself a snack or a drink, and we will get started in a few minutes when people roll in. Hope everyone's having a good day. It's a little dull and gloomy here. We're sitting at 5 degrees Celsius, which is, let's see, that's about 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So cold. Hi, Vivian. How are you? Hi, Ron. How are you? So, as I said, today I want to talk about letting go. And for the last couple of days, I've wanted to do this video. And I confess I'm having a hard time sorting out, any kind of strategy as to how I talk about it. So I just want to say forgive me in advance if I kind of, seem to be jumping a bit. I think it's important to explain very briefly, the things that I'm holding on to and the things that I've been trying to let go of. And then I want to talk about some experiences that I've had assisting me to let go. And, we'll sort of take it from there. So, 10 years ago, or almost 10 years ago now, my mother passed away, as everybody knows. And I was told by my mother, or asked by my mother, to be her executor. So I understood that I was her executor. I had no reason not to believe her when she told me that I was. And so I sort of went with that. And as it turns out, I was not. Then I was told that I was co-executor of my my stepfather's estate, which my mother's husband. And I had no reason to believe that I wasn't, so I went with that thought. My mother never really acknowledged that she was dying, and out of respect for her situation, and out of respect for her and the way that she wanted to handle, that situation, we sort of allowed ourselves. Hi, False Teeth Tarot. Thank you for joining us. We sort of followed her lead, if you will. And so we never discussed dying. We never discussed wishes, wants, needs, expectations, nothing. And so there was one moment in time where my mother said out loud that she wanted to have her ashes, she wanted to be cremated and have her ashes scattered at a cemetery where there are some other family members. And that was the only thing that she said out loud. Now, as her oldest daughter and as the person that she said that she wanted to be her executor, I believed it was my job, my duty, my responsibility to make sure that that wish was carried out. Hi, Janet P. How are you? Thank you for joining us. So, as I said, I was not the executor. I had no say in what was to happen or how it was going to happen or whatever. And so it was taken out of my control. And that's a very important word, control. And we're going to sort of just keep that, and, if you had a sticky note, write that down. So my stepfather decided to have my mother cremated, and we had said how we wanted, that mom had this wish and that we thought that this is, what should happen. And he said that he would make arrangements in the will for that to happen. And we were satisfied with that. My mom passed, and my stepfather said that he wasn't ready to deal with a service, shall we call it. And hi, Sharon Sipe. How are you? Thank you for joining us today. And so he wasn't ready. And so 3 weeks after my mother passed, we had a celebration of life, and my stepfather had decided to have my mother cremated and put in an urn for two. And she sat on the shelf at the funeral home like she was in storage till July of 2021. That's my kitty cat Quincy meowing in the background if anyone can hear. So when you talk about letting go, hi Anna Banana, how are you? Thank you for joining us. So when you talk about letting go, many people said, Kelly, you need to let go of this. You need to just let it go, sweetheart. You need to relax. You need to release it. I was struggling with the control, and not my control, the control that another person had over my mother's wish that stopped me from having any power to do this for her, to carry out her one and only wish that she said out loud. That was my first bit. My second bit was, I honestly didn't know how. Nobody sat me down and told me the steps. They just say, let it go. You got to let it go. Carrying any kind of burden like that, any kind of guilt or pain from the loss of a loved one or the loss of a job or the loss of a marriage or, past hurts, any kind of pain that you hold on to like that in your heart is so heavy, and it's so dark and negative, and it's just weighty. It just really, 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 truly weights you down. And despite going to the doctor and going to a therapist and going to a psychiatrist, many therapists and many psychiatrists and many doctors, nobody told me how to let go. Nobody gave me any steps. Nobody gave me any tips. They all said let go, but they didn't tell me how. So I held on to it, and it hurt. it hurt me. It hurt me in ways that I cannot really explain. And I'm not doing this video for sympathy. I'm doing this for the purpose of sharing my experience in hopes that one person I can help. In 2020, my stepfather passed away, and I'm not going to get into personal details because they're not just my personal details. There's other people in my family, but suffice to say, in July of 2021, we were able to carry out my mother's one and only wish that she said out loud. We went to a cemetery and we scattered her ashes, and it was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And I felt in that moment, and at that, and after that literally a little piece of that hardened pain that I was holding on to sort of like chipped off. Wow, that's amazing, on a banana, that you just had that conversation with your mom. See, great minds thinking alike. I was channeling. I'm kidding. I don't channel. So I'm in this community and I love it. And the phenomenal and wonderful Ali from Heart and Soul Connected, which we all, or most of us, know and love. And if you don't know Heart and Soul Connected, I encourage you strongly to go check out her channel. She is a phenomenal woman. She has amazing guests on, and there is just a wealth of information and support being offered on that channel. So I strongly encourage you to check that out. She's doing a series, or was doing a series, on resilience in a time of fascism and plague, and invited me on to tell my story. I told my story, and this is what I love about this community. There's a bunch of people in the chat, saying all kinds of wonderful things, offering their support, and the lovely and wonderful Butterfly Kisses Healing reaches out and says to Ali to have me contact her because she's offering me some support. And I mean, how awesome is that? And so I sent her an email, and we chatted a bit, and she offered me 2 complimentary energy healing sessions. And I didn't really know what to expect, even though she explained it very well. I was a little bit nervous. My happy place is outside, so I went outside the first night. And I was in my lounge chair, and I said my prayer. I had set my alarm for our sessions as she had told me to do, and I said my protection prayer and let it begin. And 5 minutes in, my left hand started to tingle, not in a bad way or a weird way. It was sort of like, if you had pins and needles, if your arm fell asleep, that kind of a feeling. It eventually went up my left arm and all into my shoulders, and that is where I carry a majority of my stress, is in my shoulders and my neck. I was in a really bad car accident a long time ago, and so it sort of goes there. I came inside, I sat down, I was watching something on YouTube, and I don't know, about an hour later, I went into the kitchen to get a drink, and I was like, oh, like, I'm exhausted. Excuse me, but not in a I just ran a marathon way. It was more like I'm exhausted. Like I just spent a week at the spa. Like I felt so zen, so chill. I can't really articulate it, but I mean, I felt so good, but like, I need to sit down. So anyways, I went to sleep at like 10:30 at night. I don't go to sleep at 10:30 at night. I woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning. There was no interruptions to my sleep. It was the best night's sleep that I have had in probably 5 or 6 years. Like, no joke. The next day I woke up, I felt like I literally felt amazing. So like every muscle and every joint felt relaxed and not like I normally feel. I mean, I normally walk around with my shoulders up around my ears like this, and suddenly they were down like they are now. I felt amazing. Incredible. So going into the second night, I was like, I can't wait. So this time I was inside, and again, I set my alarms. Now, this time I was alone. The house was totally quiet. I had my second session, sorry, and there was no, I didn't feel any reaction. I didn't feel any tingling like that. But again, that very, zen, relaxed feeling came over me, and I thought to myself, you know what? Why the heck not? I'm gonna have a little cat nap. I sort of peered out of the corner of my eye at the clock, and it was 7:25 or 26, I think. And I was like, I'm just gonna like let this happen. I'm just gonna have a little cat nap. And I'm laying there, and my eyes are closed, but I'm totally conscious. And I wanna sort of demonstrate what I experienced, because it was amazing and odd and cool and a little unnerving. So if you will just allow me to grab something here so I can demonstrate this. So I'm laying there with my eyes are closed, and all of a sudden I like something started to come like right there, like right in my forehead, even though my eyes are closed. This vision sort of came to me as if it was being brought up to my face into my focus, but very quickly, like zoom, right? And it lasted for about 3.5 to 5 seconds. So imagine, if you will, I'm gonna sort of try to demonstrate this with a card. It was like I was sitting back here, right? And it was like, and then back out again. It was, I hope that I didn't freak anyone out doing that. The image, there was no audible like noises. There was no voices, but it was moving. It wasn't like a still. It wasn't like a photograph. It wasn't still, but it was like a moving short mini clip. I don't really know how to explain it. Anyway, it was very clear. It was crystal clear. I mean, there was a man and there was two women. There was a man who was facing me that was wearing a gray tracksuit. He looked like he was angry or frustrated. He wasn't. I don't think he was like violent, but he was disturbed about something, and he was moving his arm all around as he was talking, and he was pointing. And there was two girls, as I said. They weren't young children. They were like teenagers, and they had their backs to me, but they were facing the man. And the man, don't ask me, the man had a toque. Now, these are very common in Canada. I don't know about anywhere else, but they're very common here in Canada. We refer to them as snowmobile toques. So this is a hat that goes over your head that sort of goes up like a bit of a cone, and that has a pom-pom on the top. And I was like, what just happened? Like, what is that? So I kind of sat there for a few minutes and thought, like, sorry, everybody, this is Quincy. Say hi, Quince. Say hello. Um, I had no idea what that was, and so I emailed Butterfly Kisses Healing, and we sort of, you know, shot an idea or two back, and I sort of come to the conclusion that that was either my father or my stepfather, and so yet again, it's me facing my fears. It's another little chip off of me, off of my heart, the heaviness. It was me letting go of something. Again, I had the most fantastic sleep that I have had in years. I mean, I could barely get myself to my bed. I was that exhausted, and it was just, I am so appreciative and grateful that anybody on the internet would hear me and reach out to me and offer to help me. And I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional. I have carried this weight around for 10 years almost. And you have no idea, Butterfly Kisses Healing, what you did for me. So thank you. Blessings to you. And I strongly encourage anyone who is listening or who may be listening in the future to go to Butterfly Kisses Healing channel, check her out. She is a phenomenal, compassionate, and kind human being. And the experience was totally enlightening, empowering, and a couple of days after that, I still felt like lighter. And so do it. Reach out. If she can help you, I know she will. So then I had, thank you. You're so kind. And I appreciate you so very much. I also had another healing experience that I want to share quickly. So I, again, Heart and Soul Connected, watching, there's Sun Psychic Jean. She's a new psychic. Not that she's a new psychic, but she is new to YouTube. And she was offering free readings. And so I reached out and I got a reading from her. Now, this is definitely going to make me emotional, and so I apologize. But they're not tears of sadness or pain anymore. It is honestly tears of joy. So I just want to say that. So when I joined her on, we did it over Zoom, obviously, she said that my energy was blocked and my guides could not come in. And so she gave me an exercise to help me sort of like let down those blocks. And she said it was a good job. My spirit guides were coming in. And so I have a tendency when I get a little bit nervous to talk really fast, and I'm trying to slow myself down, which is why I'm chewing some gum, because I want to explain this in the way that it felt in the moment so that you can understand the impact that it had. So she said to me, I want you to imagine that you're in a car. And of course, my eyes are closed the whole time. So I'm in the car. And then she said, I want you to imagine that you're in the driver's seat. And so I did. She said, I want you to put your hands on the steering wheel. And so I did. And she said, I want you to grip it really tight. And so I did. And she said, no, just, like I was just driving for a bit. And then she said that there was a suitcase that was placed beside me, I guess like in the passenger's seat. She asked me if I could take the steering wheel off and put it in the suitcase. And I did. She asked me to close the suitcase and lock it. And I did that. And then she said my mother was there. And that my mother was holding out her hand, and for me to hand the suitcase to my mother. She asked me, to take my time, think about it. She asked me if I was ready. She was so gentle with me. It took me, a minute or two. And then she said this. She said that my mom was standing there with her hand out, ready to take the suitcase. That the burdens that I was carrying were not my burdens to carry. They were my mom's. There was something in that statement that really resonated with me. I mean, I felt that statement. And I handed the suitcase to my mom. And then my mom was gone. I have been in therapy for years, and nobody has ever helped me in that way. It was a phenomenal moment. Jean is amazing. I strongly encourage you to check out her channel. She's on YouTube, Sun Psychic Jean. I'm going to put links to Butterfly Kisses Healing as well as Sun Psychic Jean in the description, if I can figure out how to do that. So, I realize that not everybody has these kind of resources at their fingertips. So I want to say this. You're not alone. Holding on to stuff is hell. You have no idea what you're doing to yourself by holding on. But if you are unsure of how to go about releasing it or letting it go or moving on or moving past it or whatever way you want to say it, reach out to a doctor, reach out to a therapist, a psychiatrist, your friends and your family. Be honest with what you feel you're holding on to. That's not something that I did. If you're unclear, or there's a multitude of things that you might be holding on to, maybe journal. Get your thoughts on paper, out of your head. Read the journal. Try to make sense of it when it's written down. Maybe have a forgiveness ceremony or ritual where you can write out a letter to the person that has caused the pain. Hi, JR. Thank you for joining us. That was another huge chip off of my heart. And I can only tell you this. I am not healed by any stretch of the imagination, but I am so, so, so much lighter. I am so much brighter. And I see clearly a path forward. I now know that I am going to be able to release all of the stuff that I have been holding on to and carrying for so long. And if nothing else I say matters, please know this. It almost destroyed me. Please don't let it do that to you. Because you are unique, you are wonderful, you are awesome, you are special, you are loved, you're not alone. You can't live in the past, and you most definitely should not live in the past with past pain. It's too heavy, it's too hard, it's too dark, it's too negative. There is a whole world out there that is waiting to offer you joy and love and kindness and acceptance. And I have experienced it, so I know that it's true and I know it's real. And I want that for anyone who has this kind of weight on their heart. Truly, I want that for anyone. Because it's just not a great headspace. And so, that is really in the totality of what I wanted to talk about with respect of letting go from my own personal experiences. And I'm sorry for getting emotional. It's difficult, though. I want to just, Anna Banana had said in the chat that she just had a conversation today with her mom about letting go. And I mean, I'm not necessarily happy that you had that conversation with your mother if it was at all painful or difficult for either one of you, Anna. But I thank you so much for putting that there, because it was a check mark to say, Kelly, someone needed to hear this. So I appreciate that. And I couldn't do any of this. This is hard to sit here and turn the camera on and get ready to bare my soul and, share my stuff with anyone. But as always, you guys are my family. You make me feel like it's okay to be who I am, good, bad, and in between. And I love each and every one of you for making me always feel like no matter what, I'm okay. And I appreciate that so very much. I don't know if this will ever help anybody, but it certainly is therapeutic for me to acknowledge that I am on the right path. It was most important for me to thank this community Allie from Heart and Soul Connected, Sun Psychic Jean, Butterfly Kisses Healing, for their extraordinary acts of kindness to help me, because I don't know that they necessarily realize what they did. I will forever be grateful to them for what they did for me. All right, so deep breath. Oh, sorry. I'm getting a reminder. All right, so let me just take a moment. I'm going to take a drink here. Breathe in, breathe out, and I'm going to read some of the comments here. Butterfly Kisses Healing says, bless you for being so vulnerable. You know, like I said, it's not easy to put yourself out there, but I can do it without the support of this amazing community. So thank you for allowing me to be vulnerable. JR says, thank you for sharing. I appreciate that, JR. So very much. False Teeth, Real Tarot. No reason to be sorry, girl. I was so used to saying this. I'm learning to take it back for me anyways. I love you, cats, you guys. I love you too. Thank you. Butterfly Kisses Healing says, you are purging and it is beautiful to witness the healing taking place in you. Amen to that, right? Amen to that. JR says, we love you too. You have no idea. Ron Unconditional Love Tarot is awesome to see and hear. You are healing. You are an amazing soul and you will help a lot of people. Your light is shining and you have all my support. Ron, you are such an incredible person. You have gone to hell and back in terms of what you have been through in your life that I know about from what you've shared. And yet you remain positive and loving and kind and willing to help. So I know you know what I'm talking about. And I also am inspired by the fact that you were on the other side of it. I mean, I'm sure that you still have challenges and I'm sure that there are times when you're still working through things, but for the most part, you found your way forward and you're an inspiration to a lot of people. So I appreciate you saying that. Thank you so much. Okay. So does anybody else have any questions or comments or anything that they want to share or talk about? I have a couple of things that I just want to say real quickly. Sorry. Hope I could just stop the tears. One of the things that I've been thinking about doing, and I don't know what you guys feel about this or what you think, but I'm thinking about doing sort of like a group in session is kind of the name I'm thinking for it, where it's going to be, you know, like an hour or whatever amount of time we need, where it'll be like a scheduled thing where people can come and check in and we'll just discuss whatever people feel the need to discuss. And what do you guys think about that? You can let me know in the comments or in the chat. That would be appreciated. I am going on. Where am I going? Oh, I'm trying to learn to read tarot cards. So, yay me! So I have a lesson this afternoon. So I'm very excited about that. I understand that many readers out there have said that they have, you know, started reading tarot cards as a mindfulness tool, and so I'm looking forward to that. that's very exciting to me. It gives me something to focus on, and so I'm looking forward to get started with that. And what else? Oh, I have hi Cartomancy. You go right ahead and lurk all you want. Um, I am going to have a shadow reading. Now, I don't fully understand what a shadow reading is, to be perfectly honest, but I do understand that it's going to possibly, expose some things, help me. So I'm very much looking forward to that. And that is going to be done live on my channel here. I'm not sure of the date yet, but I most definitely will, let you know as soon as that date and time is confirmed. I would love for you to join me. I mean, I have no idea what to expect or what's going to happen, but so that's a kind of exciting and on its own. And hopefully it will reveal some things that will, just sort of add to my list of things that I can continue to work on my path forward. And that's going to be done by Kathleen J. Lightworker. So that's exciting. And what else? Bum, 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 bum. I can't think of anything else. Thanks, Butterfly Clays. Yeah, I mean, I mean, when I say that I don't know what it is, I mean I don't know all that it is. I mean, I sort of guessed a little bit, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. It sounds odd when I say it out loud that I don't know. Like I don't know all my stuff. Seems weird. Well, like why don't you? Do you don't know what happened to you? But as I've, said many times before, these things occur, you stuff it down, you stuff it down, you stuff it down, and there's like stuff going on behind the scenes, it seems, where things are sort of like just rolling into something else and something else is coming out of that. And before you know it, it's like a big mess, like a spider web of stuff. And I sort of look at it, like a ball of wool. If anybody here crochets or knits, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. You keep picking up the project and putting it down and picking up the project and putting it down, and before you know it, you go to stop, and the whole entire ball of yarn is like a hot mess, and there's all kinds of knots and tangles, and it's your job to figure it out, and you can't move forward until you do. That's what it is. On a banana. I have to tell you, when it was suggested to me, I was like, I don't know. I mean, I'm afraid of, like I say all the time, I'm afraid of my own shadow now. So I hear what you're saying. But the way that it was explained to me is just what Butterfly Kisses Healing just said in the chat, that it's discovering the side of you that you keep hidden away, right? That you keep sort of pressed down or repressed. So if you have an issue, if you have a fear, if you have a phobia, maybe it could come out in the shadow reading, which would only lend itself to you being able to, work towards getting past it, getting over it, getting through it, and hopefully, eventually getting on the other side of it, which is, that's the goal, or that's my goal anyway. So yeah. 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 I mean, there's so many things. There's so many things like Butterfly Kiss is saying. There's so many things that you can do to help yourself, to free yourself, to just even like manage it better so that you can understand it. Because I mean, one of the, and I say this all the time, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, and I don't want to repeat myself, but no matter what you're going through, no matter what you're going through, you feel like you're the only person that it's happening to. Of course, that's not true. But your thoughts and your feelings and how you react and how you cope and exist and deal with it are unique to you. Because no two people react and feel and think and work through things in the same way or the same order or whatever the case may be, however you want to say that. It's hard. I mean, when we were little children, if our parents or our peers or our, teachers or whatever didn't tell us that lying was wrong or stealing was wrong, do you know when you would have figured that out? Probably after you stole something and got in trouble would be my guess. So if you don't know, how are you supposed to work with this? How are you supposed to deal with it? How are you supposed to break it down and help yourself? Right? I always thought I knew what my issues were and why. Obviously, the fear that, yep. Here's the thing, Anna Banana, I'm going to say this to you, and I hope that you don't mind me saying this. First of all, you're not wrong. I don't know, but I'm going to make a guess here. But I'm going to make it about myself. And then you can tell me if I'm on the right path or not. I am so not who I used to be, and I have developed so many fears and phobias, and every day it's like I have a new issue that I didn't know that I had before. I kind of get to the point where I'm like, I don't really want to know anymore because I can't deal with the ones that I have. It's not easy to say, sure, I can do that because I used to do that, or that would have excited me before. And then you go to do it and you're like, oh, wow, you didn't tell me it was inside. You didn't tell me that I'd have to close the door. You didn't tell me that there was no window so I can't have any fresh air. You didn't tell me that other people were going to be watching. You didn't tell me that I'd have to get on a plane and fly there. You didn't tell me that I have to use an elevator and go up 98 floors to your office. No, I'm not. No, I can't do it. It's hard to manage to look at something from a positive standpoint when it feels like your list of cons is growing and you've got like one pro. I know what that feels like. And so me personally, I don't judge myself. I mean, I can get very negative on myself, right? But I don't judge myself. And if I do judge myself, I stop myself literally mid sentence and say, no, no, because who I am is good enough. I don't have to be any better. And as long as I'm trying to put a step forward, that is all I ask myself to do. That's all I ask myself to do. Because otherwise, I would be constantly comparing myself from who I am today versus who I was, prior to all this happening to me. And every time it would be a massive fail, in my opinion. I am not who I once was, and so somehow that makes me bad. It doesn't. You know, I don't. I hope Ron doesn't mind me making an example of him here, but Ron spoke about his near-death experience. He's not the same as he was before. He's not. I'm not the same that I was before my treatment with butterfly kisses healing. I'm not the same. That doesn't mean it's a bad thing, right? So I don't know if that helps or not on a banana. I hope that it does. And if you ever want to talk, please feel free to email me. If I can, even if you want me to talk about something where you want me to maybe record a video so that, you might find it helpful. I'm open to that. If you guys have any suggestions for upcoming videos, like I'm not an expert at doing this. I can only, think of things that I think that would be useful or helpful to other people. So JR, you judge yourself all the time. Here's the thing. I think something that I have learned, and only very recently, I have always set myself on a very high standard. I have always set myself up almost to fail. Like, it's impossible. The things that I say that I like, the standard that I hold myself to. And so when I do not do whatever I said I was going to do, or I don't do it in the way, like I had a test and I got like an A minus, not an A. And so what's my problem? Right. And then you go down the path. My problem is, as soon as I do that, not necessarily judging myself, but I get very negative. And as soon as I get negative, I lose my power. I lose my motivation. I lose my, I don't really know, like my oomph, you know what I mean? My ooh, like go get 'em kind of attitude. So I view that as being negative. You may view that as judging yourself. I mean, in my opinion, it's kind of the same thing. Here's what I've learned to do very recently. And when I say recently, it's probably like in the last 6 months. I'm trying to think of an example. So let's take an example. And on a banana, I just seen what you wrote, so I'm gonna try and like do both of these things at the same time. The difference between judging yourself and negative self-talk. So let's take an example. So let's take today, for example. I'm getting ready to do this video, and I want to talk about my experience with Butterfly Kisses Healing and Sun Psychic Gene. So an example of negative self-talk would be, as I'm sitting here getting ready, I don't overanalyze what I'm going to do, but I am trying to, sort of string it together so it makes some sort of, sense, logical sense, right? There's a flow to it, shall we call it that? And I try to go over some key points in my head. So maybe I'm sitting here and I'm getting ready, putting my face on, or whatever you want to call it, combing out my hair. And I'm sitting here and I'm doing this. Like, I'll take you right through it, right? Yeah, okay, let's talk about that. Okay, right. And should I mention about, mom being put in an urn for 2? And should I mention that, and I didn't mention this, should I mention that, well, my dad was also in a situation like that where, my dad was cremated and put into a fishing tackle box and buried on their friend's private property. So we have no access to him. And I was never told about the celebration of life or his funeral service. Should I say that? And then I'm like, no, nobody wants to say that. You're going to look like an idiot. I mean, you look like you're trying to go for sympathy. Don't be a dork. You're like, nobody cares. That's negative self-talk. In my opinion, that's what negative self-talk is. When you are trying to sort of stomp all over yourself or sabotage yourself, that what you think is not right, what you're doing is not right, but there's a negative connotation to it, right? You're a jerk, you suck, you're horrible, right? That's negative self-talk. Judging is more of a blanket statement. So here's my judging example. So I got ready and I decided that this is what I was going to do. And I signed up or put my video on and I sat here and nobody said anything. That's going to make me really, really nervous. And nobody's participating and nobody showed up to watch the video. And I'm just like, and then I get off and I'm like, oh, that was awful. That was awful. You see, Kelly, nobody cares. Nobody wants to listen to you. You don't have anything important to say. I quit. I'm done. I can't do this. It's more of a to me judging is more of a blanket statement, right? And I make judgments all the time. Uh, I can't do this, so I'm not going to. And then I just don't revisit it. I don't try to like think about it. I don't try to like break it down. I don't write a pros and cons list. I don't care. I just done. I don't know if that helps or if that kind of answers your question or your comment um, uh, for the difference. I find that both are equally deteriorating to your person, right? But negative self-talk to me is a little more detrimental because you can inject that into everything that you do. Everything that you do. And before you know it, you are exactly what you're saying about yourself. So I skipped over this. I was starting to say it, then I skipped over it. About 6 months ago, I made a conscious decision to try to do this more. So I'm going to go back to my example. I'm sitting here, I'm getting ready, I'm doing my hair, and I'm like, what am I going to talk about? I want to talk about this, and I want to talk about that, and how am I going to string it all together? And what if no one shows up? And it's like, listen, you came on the internet, and one person reached out to you and helped you. This is going to be therapeutic for you to talk about because every time I talk about it, I get a little bit stronger and I get a little bit more power back. I have a little bit more control. This is a good thing. Maybe everybody's busy. People are at work, dealing with their kids, whatever the case may be. Maybe someone will watch it later. And if nothing else, if no one ever watches this and no one ever pats me on the back and says, good job, Kelly, thank you so much, it was good for me. That's my goal. So do you see how I just took a negative and turned it into a positive? That's the point. I've learned and consciously made an effort to take any situation that I could put a negative spin or I have put a negative spin on and try to flip it on its head and make it more positive, even if it just sounds more positive. Because it helps me to not dwell and not allow that impending doom that I spoke about the other day to sort of, jump on top of me and feel like that proverbial, dark cloud hanging over top of me. Um, if this is a subject that we want to investigate further, I would be open to do that. Maybe I'll work on that, and I'll think of a few examples. The difference between, judging negative talk and how to inject, this positivity flip. I'll give some examples of it. Maybe that's helpful. Oh, thank you, Ron. And yes, false teacher, real tarot. We are all teachers and learners. I mean, every day we learn, and we teach in one way or another, and that's a great way to look at it. That's a great way to look at it. Anyways, I must go because I have to get ready for my lesson. I do appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget, I believe tonight is the full moon lunar eclipse. Important to set your intentions. I don't know here if anyone has like a full moon ritual, but I have a tendency to write a little note about what I'm doing, what I'm thinking, how I'm feeling, what I want to work on, and where I want to find myself. In a week or two, or whatever the case may be, and I stick it in a baggie. It's very scientific formula and ritual here. I stick it in a baggie, and I tape the baggie to my window, and the moonlight sort of goes over top of my house, and I tape it to the window, and I leave it in the window for the full moon to sort of, soak up my intentions, and put a little extra light on maybe things that I need to work on. And I don't know what it does. I don't know if there's any truth to it, if there's any formula behind it, but I feel better because I feel like I'm doing something uh, um, more than just going, looking at the full moon saying, you know, what I want. I want a new top tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm putting more into it, more emphasis on it, and I feel somehow that helps me. So I don't know if anyone's does any rituals or ceremonies or whatever, but it's a great night to set intentions. So do that, and I want to pull an oracle card for you guys before we go. How about we go from the soul's journey? We'll pull from the soul's journey. I adore this deck. It's so bright and so colorful. Sorry for the loud shuffling, but if I do it on my table, you won't be able to see me, so that won't be super, super helpful. All right. Whoop. Now, that just flipped over. Beautiful card. Courage. I find the inner strength to face fear with confidence. You can't make some stuff up, right? That is exactly what it takes to let go, is courage. You need to have courage that you have the strength. You need to have courage that it's okay to bare your soul. You need to have the courage to believe that you're going to be okay, because it's going to be painful. And it's going to be scary. It's going to be difficult. You need to have courage. That's awesome. I thank you guys. I love you. I truly do. You are like my family. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for being part of my journey. And I am so grateful and so appreciative for all of your support. And I will be posting up tomorrow's daily oracles, and I'm going to think about that group session therapy, whatever you want to call it. I'll think of a cutesy little name for it. And I will also work on a video to talk about negative self-talk and judging. And hopefully we can meet back here. Don't forget to look forward to the shadow reading with Kathleen J. Lightworker. And I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, and blessings. Bye, everybody. Oh, check out that's fantastic, Ron. Check out Ron. He says he's going to be live in a collab with Linda G on Friday night. That's amazing. That's going to be fantastic. I'm proud of you, Ron. That's going to be a fabulous show. Everybody make sure that you tune into that for sure. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great day. Bye now.